Hello guys, today we are going to talk about how to optimize your Bitquery APIs. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Gaurav. I head growth at Bitquery. Bitquery is a blockchain data company. We provide blockchain data for more than 40 blockchains. So many times people use our APIs and they don't optimize their GraphQL queries. And because our pricing is based on point system, point is the amount of resource you take on our infrastructure. That's why they end up paying more what they should actually pay, because they are not optimizing the queries at the same time loading our infrastructure. So this video is for those who wants to optimize their queries. The way, if you optimize your queries, you can actually save money. At the same time, it's a good use of our own resources. So it's a win-win situation for both sides. So before starting, let me tell one basic point which you should remember while creating GraphQL queries is to optimize APIs, you need to reduce the data your query or your API is trying to query. So for example, when you are writing a query, try to write a query in a way that actually processes less data. Let me give you some example. As you can see in my screen, there is a query which is basically getting all the latest tokens or all the created tokens on BSC. Limit is too high. Let's say we put limit. Let me fork the query. Let's say put the limit 2025. Now you see it's getting for 2022 9/01 to 2022 to 9/31, right? Let me run this way. Cool. So once you run it, you will see it's calculating the points. Sometimes point calculation take time, a lot of time, because it goes into queues and then it's actually try to calculate it. As you can see, it took 5.74 points, right? Now you see it's querying 1 month data, right? But usually if you are like, then there might be 2000 contracts might be created in less than, let's say, 10 days, or let's say 5 days, right? So you see that as I will reduce the time, there will be less amount of data which will be actually processed. So now we are only querying 5-day data. See, it's pretty fast, right? It just gave the result. Let's see, and it's 0.66 points or 1.41 points, right? So it's last one took 5 points, this one took 1.4. So time is one of your friend. Time and date, there are two different parameters. Both you can use, and if one is not working, you can use the date. For example, somewhere if the time query is not optimizing it, you can try date query. But date and time are two filters who are your best friend when it comes to optimizing Bitquery APIs. So let me show you the difference between date and time. So now you can see date only consider this part, time also consider this part. For example, it considers this part, but if you even add this part to here, it won't consider it. So date only takes date, time takes the whole time parameter. So remember this part, right? Let's run it. It's not written properly, that's why it's giving this problem. Cool. So now this is one thing, that use date and time. By doing this, I'm actually reducing the data is trying to query. Use date time, and then one more, there are few other parameters, example height or some other. Basically, if you are querying do you want to query only certain address or transaction hash, you can add those also. So those limits the data, and always try to use date and time parameter next. The next thing you want to do is like to reduce the data which you don't want in the result. For example, you don't want things in the result, you don't want height, you don't want contract type, for example. Whatever you don't want, this is the beauty of GraphQL. Actually, you can write the response the way you want. So if you remove, it's always a good practice to remove any extra field which you don't want in the result, because it's well in terms of networking, because it's now sending less data, even though it's a small bits. But if you are querying a lot of APIs, it's basically it's overall optimization of infrastructure or usage of the APIs. Cool. For example, this is using block height. That's why it's giving error. Let's say, for example, timestamp is not getting used. Let's say, right? This can help. Sometimes this can really help in order to optimizing certain queries. Or for example, if you are trying to query transfer APIs, for example, it's 1.35 points. Let me add block height and contract type. Let me add more fields. Protocol type, contract type, name, symbol. You want, let's say, for example, arguments. If you add more field, it takes more time. For example, let me check why it's. If you see that these are sometimes these queries get optimized, get um, cached, but in this sort of, if we add more fields, they can take more points. For example, we added few fields. This thing, it took few points, but if you are talking about a scale calling millions of API, these small numbers can affect too much, right? So two ways: one, reducing the amount of data you are querying; second, removing the unnecessary fields, right? If this video helped you, please like and subscribe the channel. I'll be creating more videos. If you have any specific questions, please comment on the video about optimization, or if you want me to create a video on certain things, please comment on below. I'll be keep creating these videos. Thank you.